All right.
We're good? Okay, great. Okay, welcome everybody, and thanks for attending. Today is our final prospect webinar for University of Florida. Today's webinar is for master's and PhD prospects for the fall 2024 term. We also have a bunch of students that have already applied. And so some of you just got emails from me yesterday or even this morning. When I checked this morning, we have around 550 to 600 students who have already submitted their applications for fall 2024. This is for any of our departments here in engineering, which includes computer science. So that's great. That number is going to jump and climb all the way to 5, 6, or 7,000 by the time we get to the end of January or into February. So we're excited that some of you have already taken that step and got your application submitted. So we have a great program for you today. I can see that there's already about 70 students that have logged in online, and I know there's more that are going to be joining us. So I have a whole bunch of experts here today to talk to you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through a series of slides for some important information for all of you about University of Florida and applying and funding and all of that good stuff, all the stuff you want to know more details on. And then we're going to let you ask all your questions throughout from our panelists. And then if there's other questions at the end, then we'll be happy to take those as well. But I think the first thing that we should do today is we should let each of our panelists introduce themselves. So let me start by sharing the slides here, and then we'll let everybody go through some introductions. Okay, so Toshi Nishida, the Associate Dean, is not able to join us this morning. He's actually double booked with another meeting going on with deans and chairs here in our Herbert Wertheim College of Engineering right now. But he does extend his wishes and asked me to pass along that he's very interested, and we're all interested in talented students joining us here for the future in our college. I'm Mike Nazareth, so many of you have heard from me primarily by email or through our webinars or application fee waivers, and I help to bring in students, future graduate students across our college in all areas.
Hi, I'm Ashley Wilson. I work with Mike Nazareth to assist in graduate recruitment.
Hi, I'm Sumant Patankar. I'm faculty with chemical engineering and also the master's program coordinator.
Christina had something pop up at the last second, so she is not able to join us today. I can help to answer some of those questions for our CISE department, but we also have a current master student in that area, and she'll introduce herself shortly.
Hi, everybody. My name is Julissa Nunez. I work with the Electrical and Computer Engineering Department, and I'm the Graduate Admissions Officer.
Pam here.
Sorry, it helps if I unmute myself. Pam Simon, Engineering Education. I'm doing the graduate admissions and recruitment for our department.
Hello, my name is Paula Jones. I'm the Graduate Academic Program Specialist for ESSE, which houses the Civil, Coastal, and Environmental Engineering Sciences programs.
Hello, my name is Jordan Sharpshire, and I am the Graduate Academic Advisor in the Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering, or ISE.
Hello, my name is Tahira Franklin. I'm the Academic Advisor with the Department of Material Science and Engineering and the Nuclear Engineering Program.
Hi, my name is Megan McMahon. I am the Graduate Admissions and Recruitment Specialist for Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering.
Hi everyone, my name is Ayati. I'm a master's student in computer science.
Hello, everyone. I'm a graduate student. I'm a second year PhD student in the Department of Engineering Education.
Hello, everyone.
Can you introduce your name and department and area, Peng Peng?
Hello, everyone. I'm Peng Peng Zhang, and I'm a graduate. I'm a graduate student and in mechanical and aerospace engineering, and my advisor is S.A. Sheriff.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so we have quite a few experts here today. I can see now there's over 100 prospects that have signed in. So we're going to go over a bunch of details for you and get all your questions answered and give you a lot more information about University of Florida, because we would love for all of you to join us here. All of these slides that you are seeing today are posted or will be posted on our website. You should have all received that link in the email that invited you to this webinar. I will put the link up again at the end of these slides, so do not feel like you have to write all of this down. We are also recording this presentation, and we will have this posted as well on the same site. The previous 3 webinars that we ran over the last month, those are already posted, the slides and the recordings. So we want to make the best use of everybody's time. So in the Q&A, you can begin asking questions anytime, and I can see some of you have already started doing that. So feel free to ask questions to any of our experts here, any of our staff, our faculty, or our current graduate students. You can address them by name, or you can address them by department, such as electrical engineering, and then put your question. Or you can just put your question, and many of them will respond on their topics, because they're all quite knowledgeable beyond their own engineering department that they work in. I'll go through slides, and then if there's other questions at the end, then we will be happy to answer those. And I will call on some of our panelists throughout to give more detail on particular slides that we're on. Okay, so to start off today, I just want to give you a little overview of University of Florida, because we have many prospects and applicants online right now from countries throughout the world. We also have some students from Florida or from the United States that are here online. So if you're not familiar, University of Florida is one of the largest institutions in the entire United States. We've been around a very long time, more than 150 years. We have virtually every major that exists. We have over 18 or 15 different colleges on our campus, and we have a lot of students, more than 60,000 students. But our focus here is not just for undergraduate students, and many of you are in undergraduate programs right now. We also have a very large focus on graduate students. So we have a lot of expertise in that area, and a very large master's and PhD student community here at University of Florida. We have a lot of research expenditures, and this is very important, because these are the funds that are used to help pay for the faculty, the labs, the research that's going on, and our PhD students receive stipends, and then some of our master students want to be PhD students later. So this $1.25 billion in all of these areas and updating our facilities does expand to some of our graduate students. Going along with that is our Herbert Wertheim College of Engineering. We've been around a long time as well. We are one of the older colleges of engineering in the United States, more than 100 years old. We have virtually all departments, all specialties, all areas and concentrations that you want to go into for your graduate program. Our faculty is quite depth as well, with over 300 tenure track faculty, and then other professors that teach courses and assist in other capacities. And you can see more than 20% of University of Florida is engineering students. And engineering here at University of Florida does include computer science and data science, which is an area that many of you are interested in. Included in our college is also a large graduate student focus. So similar to the university has a community of graduate students, we have a large community here in engineering. So about 1/3 of our college is for master's and PhD students. I've broken it down specifically for you so you can see for your area. Our graduate student population goes up and down a little bit each year. These are the numbers when classes started this fall. So in mid-August 2023, this is the exact enrollment data so that you can see we are about 2/3 masters and about 1/3 PhD for the graduate student population. You'll see there's one box in there that says NA not applicable, and that's for engineering education. That's our newest department. They just started enrolling PhD students this fall. And as many of you have received information from me, they will also start enrolling master students next fall for fall 2024. So that box will become populated, and we look for that department to grow in its enrollment every year thereafter. So we're very proud to have such high rankings, and these are accolades that we've been working on for actually more than 20 years at University of Florida. The goal was to become a top 10 institution ranked across the US. That's been a goal for several decades, and that goal was achieved about 10 years ago. And then immediately following the release of those US News and World Report rankings, the goal the very next day was to become a top 5 institution. And that was achieved about 3 years ago. This year, we were ranked as the #1 public university in the entire United States. And you can check out those links. That's from the 2024 rankings that came out just maybe 6 weeks ago from Wall Street Journal. And we have stayed in the #5 or #6 spot for 3 straight years by the very famous US News and World Report rankings. And those are the latest rankings there, 2024. Those came out within the last month. So we remain in this top 10, top 5 category for several years now, and we plan on staying there for the future. And this is some validation that you will receive a quality product, a quality education, top education for those of you that come here and enroll at University of Florida. So we have a lot of departments, a lot of areas. So we talked about this a little bit earlier. And I know, as I was saying, some of you have already applied. So I'm going to let a couple departments chime in now and highlight their areas. And we'll start. We have a faculty member joining us today in chemical engineering. Sumant, if you'd like to highlight your department.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, so in the chemical engineering department, we offer pathways for students who want to get into industry and also students who want to continue their journey in academia and get a PhD. We offer a lot of lab classes, a lot of hands-on activities so that your practical knowledge is enhanced. And obviously, we have a wide range of electives. We have around 30 faculty members who are experts in different areas of chemical engineering. We focus on some newer areas also, such as drug manufacturing of semiconductors, which is booming right now in the US. Many of our students are able to find jobs in those two industries. And many of our students get involved in research. They get recommendation letters. They are able to continue their journey onwards as PhD students as well.
Good, thank you, Sumant. Speaking of semiconductor, we've hired some of the leading experts in the country in electrical and computer engineering. So I will let Julissa Nunez highlight some areas for that department.
Hey everyone, so our program has our department has 2 programs. That's an EC-MS and EC-PhD program. Our MS program is 30 credits non-thesis program. Although you do have the option to switch to thesis if you find an advisor when you start the program. Our PhD program is 90 credits. And I think I saw someone ask this in the Q&A. You can go directly from BS to PhD. You don't have to have a master's, and you do have the option to get the master's en route. We have, I think, about 60 faculty members now. We've hired a few recently. So we're doing a lot of good things in our department. We have 4 major areas: electronics, electrophysics, signals and systems, and computer engineering. But we have a lot of other areas that we cover under that as well. Those are kind of our bigger umbrella categories, but lots of good things happening in ECE.
Yep, that's one of our larger. So speaking of our absolute newest programs, I mentioned just a minute ago about engineering education. So I will let Pam Simon highlight these new and exciting areas.
Hi, thank you. As Mike was saying, we do now have 11 PhD students. We are bringing on 1 or 2 more PhD students for the spring semester. We are also in the process of developing both of our master's programs for the fall 2024, which we're really excited about.
So I know there's quite a bit of interest among a lot of the prospects because we've just been receiving hundreds and hundreds of emails about these areas. And I was also talking with Professor Katia Silva just a few weeks ago. I know they want to bring in more than 100 new master students in these exciting areas. And if the volume is overwhelming, they are open to maybe even a little bit more than that. So these are some great new areas that will be getting started. So for some of you that have backgrounds in computing, computer science, other technical areas, and have an interest in these, I would consider that because they're looking to get these up and going quickly. And I think the opportunities for admission will be at a very high level to start off because they want to have a good amount of students. So our departments have high accolades as well in rankings. There's not just rankings at the university level, so you can see all of these are in the top 20 and several in the top 10. Let's highlight another couple areas. How about one of our larger departments, mechanical and aerospace? Megan?
Yes, we have a lot of research going on in our department as well. Everything from controls, manufacturing. We have a lot of energy research going on. Lots of grants from NASA and the National Science Foundation, the DoD, things like that. One of the things that we take a lot of pride in our department is honestly our social atmosphere. We feel like our students really enjoy getting to know each other. The social circles are very strong here. Our graduate student council is very active. So those are some of the things you could look forward to in our department.
Great. We'll highlight one more and then move on to some other areas. We have a department known as SE with 3 divisions, and Paula can tell you a little more about it.
Of course. So we have 14 research areas, and there's a lot of overlap between our 3 programs and their research areas. So students that have committees, they'll often overlap their committee members. So that's always very exciting. And there's a lot of collaboration between our programs. We have a lot of events for our students, and our biggest one is Evening with Industry, which I think we'll touch on later on. But we are here to support you through your application. And if you have any questions or want to talk with a faculty member, please let us know.
Great, thank you. So speaking of questions, keep those going. I can see the questions are coming in at a pretty rapid pace this morning. In the Q&A, you can ask anything you want of individuals or just in general. And these slides and recordings will be posted later, so you don't have to write all of this down. So we have a lot of buildings here on campus, more than 2,000 acres and hundreds of buildings here. It's a large scale operation in excess of several $1 billion is the enterprise for University of Florida. Well, more than 60 of those buildings are for engineering. So if we're going to be that large and have all of these students and faculty and degrees and programs, we have to have a lot of space to house them. And we've exceeded this number because we've opened 2 new buildings, one in fall 2020, named after the benefactor of our college, Herbert Wertheim's Laboratory for Engineering Excellence. And these are really the new prototype of buildings that are groundbreaking as we move forward. That being the old sentiment was a building was for a specific major or concentration. And now the buildings are more broad than that. So multiple students, bachelor's, master's, and PhD can be in buildings, multiple engineering departments across departments, faculty spaces, student spaces, lab spaces, event spaces, and even across different colleges. And our latest building, we're so excited, the groundbreaking and opening is actually tomorrow from what I hear. So I need to find some time to get over there. But we have a partnership with NVIDIA. The founder of NVIDIA is alumni that received one of their degrees here at University of Florida and then provided a large sum of money. And we're partnering with them for AI. So we've always had one of the fastest supercomputers for colleges and universities in the US and higher education, but now we will house the fastest with this partnership. And AI is not just for the computer science or the electrical engineering majors. This is really expanding across all of our departments here in engineering. There is some AI component, whether it's in courses or labs or our faculty expertise, and expanding across all colleges on our campus. We really feel this is one of the new areas for the future. So the newest building, Malachowski Hall for Data Science and Information Technology, has the ground opening tomorrow. Departments have been moving in there, faculty have been moving in there. Not sure if classes have started. Yes, they will yet, but they will most certainly be starting in the spring term, which a few of you might have applied for. Most of you I know are looking at fall. We will be up and revved up and running by then. Our CISE department will move over there for their headquarters on one floor, our ECE department on another floor. Engineering, I think, will be out throughout 3 or 4 floors of this building. The building contains at least 6 floors. College of Pharmacy will be in there somewhat. College of Medicine will have. So it's really going to expand, and we're very excited for this because this is such an important area. So we are going to ground break with the latest and greatest building for this area, probably of any campus in the entire country. I don't know of another one that's opening a building right now in November or December. I'm sure others will open in the future. So this is tremendous excitement here for University of Florida. So we have a lot of international students online today, and I did invite one of our director for F1 student visas and advising in our last webinar. She was not able to come to all of these. We will have admitted student webinars in the spring term, likely in March, and she will come back then. But she did send me her slides so that you will have these, because there's so many extra areas that need to take place if you're an international student. They do post all of these on their websites. This little scan code here, if you click that, that will take you directly to these pages on so many of these areas. So you need to pay attention to these, but most of these are after you've been admitted. So the first steps is you need to submit your application, which some of you have done. You need to submit all the remaining credentials because most do not have complete apps yet. And then you need to stay in touch with our key graduate staff, the ones that are on this panel today, and there are others. Once you receive an admission, then you need to move forward to these stages and steps for the I-20 process so that you can come from another country to here. These are the amounts they're requesting and the financial statements that you'll need to show proof of. These are some of the processes and steps for the I-20. They don't worry about any of these for students again until they've gotten to the admission process. So once you receive an official admit, then they move forward to these. The I-20, I used to work with these some 20 years ago, but things have, boy, they've changed a lot going forward. At that time, it had to be a certified official printed copy mailed to you, but that's long since changed. Those can be certified copies that are emailed to you so that you can then print them and you can take them to your embassies to get your F1 student visa in your own countries to come here. So there's lots of details on this. Be sure to keep this in mind and start navigating through these, most especially when you've received your admission, your official admission to University of Florida. We have check-in processes also for students once they arrive in the United States and different dates and times. So there'll be a lot more information that's coming on this as you move forward. There's also steps for once you're here. It's not just getting your visa and showing up. Then there's some things you have to do once you're here. Some students like to work when they're here. There's rules around that and requirements, and all of that will be available. Also, students want to go and intern in the summer, and I'll let some of our current students online here talk about that just in a couple more slides. So all of this, we have a very large staff. That's all they work on in the International Center. There's 10 or 15 different F1 advisors, and it goes by your last name. So whatever your surname or the first letter of your surname, your family name, your last name, that will dictate which of the F1 advisors that you should be in contact with that will be processing your I-20 and answering your questions. All of those individuals are on this webpage. If you go to that scan code, it will show you their name, their picture, and the last names that they are working with, and their direct email. So you will have all of that. It's all up there right now. None of that is kept in secret from you. So please keep all that in mind. Okay, so we're going to start off talking about the PhD degree. And one of our current students is here in the PhD program. Jahan is in the engineering education department. So perhaps you would like to say a few words about being in the PhD here at Florida.
Yeah, my name is Jadaun, and I'm here representing engineering education department. PhD life here at UF is really amazing. I am also associated with an engineering graduate student council, which works and listens to the concerns of PhD students. We work as a liaison between the administration and the graduate students. There's a lot of activities that are available. There are a lot of resources that are available for students, for international students, related to counseling center, related to career, library, whatnot. And I think it's an amazing sort of experience having my PhD being done at University of Florida.
Great, thank you. So you can see the ways to enter the PhD, and I know somebody asked that earlier in the chat. You can be admitted directly from bachelor's to PhD. You can be admitted from the master's to the PhD. These are from if you come from another institution. And then we have students that enroll here in the master's. They're doing well, they like it, and they want to stay and continue with the PhD. So all of these options can be available to you. And that link at the bottom, there's actually more than 500 different specific areas of specialization. So that is the only single website you will find anywhere on all of our engineering pages that lists every specialization across all departments, categorized by department for master's and PhD. As far as PhD admission goes, here is some of the exact numbers for the applications we received across departments last year. And let's highlight another area. Perhaps we can go to material science and engineering and nuclear engineering, and they can highlight what they're looking for PhD.
Hello. So as far as PhD admissions, we are looking for applicants that have at least a 3.0 cumulative and upper division GPA. On average, our admits have about a 3.7. We're looking for students with research experience, great letters of recommendation that speaks to their character and their ability to be, self-taught learners, investigators, all of those good things that we look for with research assistants. And that is the same for nuclear and material science, as well as we do not require the GRE. We will just need transcripts, letters of recommendation, a personal statement, and English proficiency scores if you are an international student.
So we had about 150 new PhD students that started this fall. We typically have 175 and would like to, or a little higher, and would like to be up to 200. I've never seen more than 200 start in a fall term. Since it was a little bit lower last fall, I am anticipating that we will have more this fall, so you could see more admission. And there's actually quite a large push now with our dean and all of our departments and chairs and down in the faculty to expand for this next fall. So I'm seeing that we could have an expansion in this area. This is also driven by funds because all of the PhD students receive funding, which is a specific amount. It's not an unlimited amount, so we cannot take on as many as possible because we do have to stay within those funds. These are all of the areas that are required. Tahar just mentioned some of these. December 5th is our priority deadline, and some of you have received application fee waivers that mentions that. So if you have one of those and for priority deadline, do try to stick to this. Faculty are starting and departments to review applications earlier this year. They're going to be starting some in November, and they'll certainly be looking a great deal once they get to December 6th and they've seen all the apps that come in. And often students that apply after that deadline will be considered separately versus those that applied on time. Now, having said that, the application does not end on December 5th. It stays open. It will actually stay open through the spring term. So new applications can be accepted, but those tend to be ones that if they didn't fill their class, or a group of students they thought they were going to be coming decided to pick another institution, then they would go back and look at the others. So do try to get those in sooner before later. And again, students have already started applying and will be applying every day in November as those numbers will go up. If you did not receive an application fee waiver and you still want to be considered, or you had not completed any forms, here's the details that have been posted on the website. For U.S. citizens and permanent residents, I give all of those out across any department. You just needed to have filled out that form below, the form that says the waiver request for PhD, and that just gathers a little bit of information about you. If you're an international student, then our individual departments consider requests to provide PhD application fee waivers. And those are the direct emails for all of those departments if you'd like to be considered. Many of those have gone out. I watch those go out every day and see them in the admissions applications when they come in. They're very prompt about responding, getting back to you if you're considered, and those will go to some of those same individuals that are panelists today. So if you have questions about that, you can ask that now in the Q&A for the individuals. Some of our departments do not provide them for international students. So those 4 there that say none available, they do not offer those. The application fee waivers are not free. They would be free to the student, but we still have to pay for them. We take them out of our budget and we pay them to the Office of Admissions at UF, who processes your app. So we don't have an unlimited number. We can't give them to all students. So we do have to make some decisions. If you did not get one, then do take comfort in knowing that our application fee is pretty economical. It's $30 US. Most American institutions, it's $100 or more. So ours is much more economical if you do have to pay that fee. And the GRE is not required. Every single PhD program here in our Herbert Wertheim College of Engineering is waiving the GRE. None of them are requiring it. The only one that's requiring it is our CISE, Computer and Information Sciences and Engineering, but that's just for the masters. So you do not have to take the GRE. You do not have to submit the scores. I know some students keep asking, well, can I still submit them? I think it will allow you to submit them on the application, but some departments are not going to look at it, whether you submit it or not. Some of our departments may look at it if the scores are good. If you're unsure and you're in that category, feel free to put that in the Q&A to the specific individuals that you're applying to. If it's someone you're applying to that's not online today, we will provide you all their names and emails on the slide at the end, and you can still send that to them. Okay, let's move on to the master's program now and talk a little bit about that. Let's start with one of our current students here in CISE department, and she can tell you a little bit about what it's like to be a master's student there.
Hi, everyone. So I've been a master's student over here for about 2 years now, and it's been an amazing experience because UF really involves a lot of aspects of the master's student, like, you know, if you're trying to get into a different stream, or if you're trying to inculcate into other areas of your domain, it really allows you to spread around and allows you to check other different kind of subjects if you want to play around a little. And so basically, you have to complete a given number of credits, that is 30 credits throughout your years. And if you can somehow, and you can play, and you can also take credits outside of your department if you're interested into it. And you can also you can also take specific course-related credits in the sense that you can go into an internship is involved into it, which can be given your CPT, and that can be also counted as a part of it. And overall, I think masters really does give you, and masters in the UF really does give you an opportunity to completely understand what is your domain and hone on your skills and really get further with what you want to achieve. And more than anything, I feel that the best thing is that they have academy advisors who really can help you place your credits according to what would be best for your outcome, depending on when you want to graduate, and is very flexible with what you want to choose and what you would like to do with it. So any questions, please feel free to ask.
Great, thank you. We have another student, Peng Peng is here, Master's in Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering. Would you like to talk about your experience here at University of Florida?
Yeah, I graduated from the Florida Institute of Technology with aerospace engineering, and I have almost 5 years of job experience in aero engine design. And I find if you choose the University of the Florida, you can find a lot of research area and find a lot of excellent advisor for your master and the PhD study career. And I think you will have a very good experience if you choose UF.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. That's also some good advice. So we have a lot of students here that come straight from their bachelor's degree program to our master's program. And then some, maybe they're in a master's and they finish, they come to our PhD, or either way. But we also have some students that go and work for a few years, and that's okay too. We have students that have got their bachelor's overseas and then work for a company for 1 or 2 or 3 years, and then they come back for their graduate program. And so you would not be the only student in that category if you came here and joined us. We do find most of the master's students from overseas are here on campus in person, and that takes 2 years. But we do have an online distance learning. And so some students never move to Gainesville, and that is an option. I don't think all of our departments offer that. Some do and some do not, so you have to look at that. But that is a reduced tuition. Since you're not here on campus and less resources are needed, that's a significant reduction in the tuition cost if that's something that you're looking for an online program. Here's the actual numbers for master's enrollment for this fall. And again, I'm seeing from our deans and chairs in recent meeting a push to increase this and grow this enrollment for next fall. We've enrolled anywhere between 600 and 900 new master's students for the last 5 years in the fall. I could certainly see this moving up towards that higher end and maybe even a little bit further for fall 2024. Let's let another one of our departments talk about what they're looking for master students, and we will go to Jordan in the ISE department.
Oh. Sorry about that. Yes, so we definitely have a holistic admissions process. So besides looking at transcripts from previous degrees and previous coursework, we also place a lot of weight on the letters of recommendation. So we definitely encourage students to really think about who they would like to have submit their letters for them, just since that we do place a good bit of weight on those. And then we also look at the extracurriculars. So if you have already been engaged in research, that's definitely something that is also looked at, especially for, I know this is referencing master's, but just referencing PhD, that is also something that's very much looked at in regards to funding offers.
Okay, thank you. So when we go back the last 5 years, I've seen anywhere between 4,000 and 5,500 applications across all of our master's programs. I'm seeing a large push this year, so I would expect us to be closer to 5,000 or more for this year. And we've admitted anywhere from 45 to 50% of them in the past. So I think that percent will probably hold. And of those admitted, we've always been around this 35, 36% number that enroll. So I do expect the admissions to go up some this year from what I'm seeing. So more than 2,000 admitted. I don't think it would be 3,000. I think it would probably be somewhere in the middle. but some of that is unknown because we have two new master's programs in engineering education with the applied data science and artificial intelligence systems. So that will drive the numbers up for sure. So we do have deadlines that are a little more spread out when it comes to the master's degree. And here's the departments and all of their various deadlines, whether it's one deadline or an international deadline and a domestic student in the US deadline. We get a lot of applications from India, which is why I put the score range in there for India. But most are at the 3.0 GPA level or higher, which is a B level student or an 80% level student or higher, tends to be where you see most of it. But we've been giving out for the first time this year a tremendous amount of application fee waivers for masters to international students. This is a first-time pilot program of doing this, but then some of our departments are also giving them out to domestic students in the US and international students. So if you received one of those, that deadline is listed as December 22nd because we cannot leave that open into the spring term. So some have already applied using this. So if you receive one of these, you need to apply before the Christmas break. And I would not wait till the 22nd because that's right before the break. So a lot of offices close down here. The admissions office closes down, and some students have a little bit of trouble with the fee waiver codes and getting it to work. So I would back that up to December, 15th or 18th, a good week before that. So if there's any problems that occur, that we can fix that for you, because that code will become inactive after that. So the main thing that I like to emphasize for prospects for these deadlines is, we could have a department that says January 31st or December 31st or March 1st. The bottom line is the longer you wait to apply, the longer it's going to take for you to hear the decision. So if you're waiting till January, February, or March to apply, don't expect to hear back right away. You need to add a couple months onto that because there'll be thousands of applications ahead of you. So you can apply now. Again, I'm looking at the applications every day. You could apply this weekend. You could apply in the next couple weeks or month. I usually tell students, apply end of November to the first half of December. There's still plenty they're going to wait till January, but it will take us longer to get back to you. And we are asking, we're having this push to review applications a little sooner, starting in November and December. So we can only do that if you get your applications in sooner. So I think that's important. These are the different individuals. If you received a master's application fee waiver code, or if you have not, you'd like to be considered one, of who to ask. We do not give them out for all students, and there's tremendous more applications here, thousands and thousands for the master's. So we do give some, but we cannot give to all. So if you have any questions, please email the appropriate individuals. If you don't receive one, again, do not let that prevent you from being considered. It's only $30 American, US dollars in order to apply. So we find that's pretty economical. All right, you have to write the statement of purpose, whether you're enrolling for master's or PhD. So let's let Jahan from Engineering Education talk about advice that he might have when he wrote this and applied.
Sure. I would recommend starting your statement of purpose with a very clear, direct, explanation of what program you're applying for, and then what faculty member has recommended you to sort of apply, or you've sort of have had an interaction with. And also just mention briefly about your research interests and the experience you've had in that particular research area. If you've been doing research, it's good to mention your projects that you've done, and also the impact that it has created while you were working on that. If you have any work experience, it's good to mention that. A lot of students who apply for PhD are bachelor's and master's students. So if you've done projects, your final year projects, I would highly recommend that you highlight your final year project for your bachelor's and for your master's program. And then, of course, the impact that it has created. Also mention about, how you are sort of a holistic candidate who's going to not only do academics, but is also going to be participating in, the extracurricular activities. Just give a whole holistic picture of what you've done, what your experience is. And I think it overall adds to your profile. If you have any specific questions, please shoot a message and I'll respond back to you.
Good, thank you. So I know a couple of the departments here for our grad staff, that last bullet, you're asking specific questions that are not in the application, but you want them to address it in the statement. Would one or two of you like to just highlight that here, because that can get overlooked? I think ECE, were you asking for questions for them to answer in your statement?
I'm so sorry, I was answering a question in the chat
Yeah,
about
I know
other
there's a lot of
departments.
questions today.
Yes, so you definitely want to make sure that you're checking out the department's website for their specific requirements, because the application itself is not going to have department specific requirements listed on there. I believe even the letters of recommendation are written as optional, even though it's required by all of the departments. So you definitely want to check that out. For ECE, our statement of purpose does require 2 extra questions be answered at the end of the statement of purpose, and you wouldn't know that unless you go on our website. So please make sure that you check that.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, there's a lot of websites that we have, right? University, college, department, but make sure you're checking those department ones, because when you submit your application, it goes to the department, and the department ultimately makes the decision on who's admitted. So the items they list on their admission pages for the program you're applying are among the most important things you need to pay attention to.
Mike, I wanted to mention one more thing about the application itself on the CollegeNet.
Yes.
There's a fun statement on there that says that the field can only hold like 400, 600 words. But you can go ahead and ignore that, at least for our department specifically. And of course, we ask for that minimum of 1 to 2 pages that you can upload.
Yeah, so please pay attention to those. I know some of the departments like CISE that's receiving thousands of applications, they do not want you to go over that limit. And if you do go over it, they won't look at those additional pages. Their volume is just overwhelming. But some of the other departments, like Essie just mentioned, that's okay. So do check with the department on those areas. Letters of recommendation is another key important area when you're submitting your apps. So for Ayati, for CISE, do you have some advice or guidance for the prospects when they're seeking these out?
So recommendation letters, preferably it is if you go get recommendation from domains or from people who represent the domain that you're into, would be better accepted, I think. And normally a recommendation, I mean, they basically want to check up on whether you're up to the, you're up for making into the curriculum that you want to get into, and if your background is enough to to make you up to make you suitable for that task. And I think that's the main point that you should keep in mind while going for the recommendation letters. Preferably if you've been working in a job previously, then you get to your supervisors so they can tell you how this is domain oriented for you. And if you're a student, then go for your professors who have who've maybe you worked on a project with, or maybe who knows what your goal or what your aim is, so that they can better portray you and better show to the university who you are and what you want to do, solely because so that you're aligned with what you want, and you're aligned with the kind of curriculum you're getting into, and it should be fine.
Yes, good advice. So money and costs are important. That's a very big factor for a lot of you when you are selecting which school to attend, and we realize that. And so we find that University of Florida ranks at the absolute top for economical costs to come here for our institution, and we're very happy that we're able to do that. So we're among the top 5 and top 10 public universities. This is a list of all of them. And we rank at the very top, #1 for the most economical tuition, around this $30,000 annual tuition. And some of the others are almost double that. The second key factor to look at is the cost to live in the town, to be in Gainesville, Florida. And according to this indicator, we are among the best for more economical costs. So let's let another one of our students talk a little more about this. Peng Peng, would you like to address what you feel like it costs to live here in Gainesville, Florida?
Yeah, I used to study and live in Florida for more than 4 years ago, and I think if you want to live in Florida, I think it's cheaper than LA or New York, and also I registered a lot of courses online, and because I have a lot I have another job in aero engine design. So if you choose the online course, you just need to pay around more than 700 per credit. And if you want to take the course on campus, it's just $1,200 per credit. Is also very economical. So I think if you want to go to study in UF, you don't need to pay a lot of money. And thank you.
Thank you very much. And then for the in-state students that are Florida residents, then of course it's much cheaper than that, around under $13,000, which is quite the bargain if you're looking at other institutions across the US. So for the PhD students, fellowship and funding is offered. This highlights some of the areas, but I'm finding that some of our departments are expanding beyond the 30,000 minimum stipend. I've heard several mention 31, 32, 33, or 34 just in the last couple weeks. So what I'd like to do now is Sumant is here, a faculty in chemical engineering. So can certainly highlight what the chemical engineering fellowship packages are, but more importantly, every one of our engineering departments gets more outstanding, talented applications than they have funding for in the PhD program. So what's some guidance or advice for you that you have to these students for when you select who's going to receive the fellowships? Only our faculty can decide who's going to get the fellowships.
Right. So in chemical engineering, when we review applications for PhD students, I think
Did we lose Sumant?
It looks like he may have froze.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It looks like he's frozen. He might have lost connection.
Oh, okay, he's froze. Okay. All right, we'll move forward to another slide, and when Sumant's able to get back in, then we'll come back to this. So we're leaving you all hanging like a cliffhanger in a movie or something, right? He was going to tell you all the good stuff. So we have fellowships that are guaranteed for the time you're here for 4 or 5 years for PhD students. And then we also have similar fellowships, but they're just awarded 1 year at a time. But I always tell the PhD students, don't get hung up on that because they're re-awarded every year until you graduate. You just need to be, doing everything that you've agreed to do, doing well in your classes and having satisfactory performance. And almost all of the students, this is the case. It's just the pots of funding that we have. Some are much larger, and so we can award for 4 or 5 years worth, and others are smaller, and so we have to award 1 year at a time, but then they can get replenished each year. And that's just some of the rules and the protocol of how funding works for some areas at University of Florida and other universities. We do have fellowships beyond these on our campus, and the McKnight Fellowship is one of those. This is to students that want to go to any public university in Florida. So students can get these awards, they can get awards from our own campus or own department, and any of that money that can be used to fund you. Here's another particular fellowship for those that are involved in the LSAMP, which is usually different categories of students in the United States, and they have funds as well. And then our graduate school has top-off fellowships. So we do have students that apply for prestigious national fellowships, such as the National Science Foundation or the National Institute of Health, etc. And if you're awarded those can pay for everything for you to be here for 1, 2, or 3 years. And so that we can give additional funds to you on top of those awards in the thousands of dollars. So if you receive one of those, certainly let us know, and we can upscale the award that you would receive. On the master's side, those students do not receive the full funding offers. Most of the master's students are primarily here to take courses and then go get their degree and then go get a job. But we can offer you a $4,500 award. So if you are a non-Florida resident, because you pay the higher tuition, this is not for Florida residents because the tuition is much lower. We can guarantee you the $4,500 academic achievement award. And the way this works is you would have $1,500 taken off your tuition for 3 straight semesters. So it wouldn't be the $30,000, it would be around $28,500. And there's no limit on this. So every single master's applicant that applies, that's a non-Florida resident, so from another state in the US or another country, if you apply and you are admitted, and you come here to enroll, you are guaranteed this. We can give this to as many as we want. So we find that's just another reason to pick the University of Florida. Most universities in the US do not do something like this. If you're EDGE, the online distance learning, as Peng Peng and some others mentioned, is considerably less. It's half or less of the other costs. Okay, so let's move on to talk about a few other areas now. So we do have a large operation here at University of Florida to assist all of our students, our bachelor students, our master students, and our PhD students with jobs and internships. Have some of the 3 of you, the current grads that are online today, worked or attended these events that you'd like to talk about it?
So I have been attending the Career Connection Center, and I have been attending the career fair that they showcase over there. And really they put into the fact that, so I'm an international student, right? I'm looking for jobs which are suitable for international students. And I think the university really understands that requirement and puts forth the information, or puts an effort into bringing in companies that would put that into account, because they have very clearly shown the companies which are more suited to take in international students and are more suited with the requirements that we have, which is really helpful while we go through the whole career showcase. And plus they do try to rope in a lot of companies which allow different kinds of roles, because in computer science you have different domains and you have different kind of roles that you want to apply for. And I think each career fair, what I find very interesting over there is they don't just populate the entire place with companies who are giving the same roles. They normally have a distribution in the type of roles you're doing, in the type of work that you'll be doing, and the type of work itself. Like, is it remote? Is it on-site? Is it everything, and they also very clearly show, especially for international students like me, they clearly showcase and tell you in advance which companies are the ones you want to target, or the ones who would be more accepting to international students and their requirements. And I think that is really, really interesting, and that really helps to navigate through the entire process.
So we have these career fairs across the entire university for all students, but then some of our engineering departments also host separate ones. Were you able to go to the CISE specialized event as well?
Yeah, absolutely. They there was one which was university-wide, as you said, where all domains were included, and there was one which was specific to our particular college. It was CISE related, and there also I think they brought in companies who really allowed us to pick from a large variety of people who were giving us jobs from different domains, and also clearly identifying within CISE who would be more willing or is more open to international students and everything. So it really brought in front of us good IT companies, and with that, good IT companies who would let you, who would be more favorable to international requirements. Yeah.
But this is very important to us. We don't want to be known as an institution that just brings students in so that they can be here. We can teach the courses, they get the degree, and then we want them to move on for the next group. We really want to help them with their career aspirations. So we have a large enterprise for that here that has many, many employees that work for it. And their only goal and mission is to help all of our students with jobs and internships. And I think this is of tremendous benefit to both us and, of course, all of the students that are here. So another one of our departments that has some more specialized career assistance is our Industrial and Systems Engineering Department, and I will let them tell you a little more about it.
Certainly, yeah. So we hold our department-specific career fair every fall. And this year we actually did it in two parts, an in-person component, and then a week later, a virtual component, just to widen the just number of companies that could participate. And it's organized by our ISE ambassadors, our official student representatives of the department. And it's a very widely attended. A number of students do obtain offers of internships or professional positions through our career fair. So students find it very highly valuable.
Great, thank you. And we'll have one more department highlight this same area for them.
So we have our SE Evening with Industry event, which we have now had to transition to a larger facility because we have over 100 employees coming now to these events. And we have employers that offer visa sponsorship, of course, internships and employment. And we always encourage our students to come out to these, whether they're first year undergrad students or first year grad students, so they can get talking with these employers. We have a bunch of students, of course, attending, and we also have students volunteering for these events to assist us. And we have these twice a year in the spring and fall.
Great, thank you. Sumant, did you make it back?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, great. All right, we left him hanging. It was like a cliffhanger, right? When you were going to tell him how to get a funding offer. So I went back to this slide if you'd like to pick up where you left off.
Yeah, so we don't offer assistantships directly to the students. We do offer assistantships at the time of admissions, but we don't associate that with a particular faculty advisor. So we admit a pool of students and then we match students with their research interests. So if you get an admission to the PhD program, you already get a fellowship.
Okay. So we do have a couple methods that takes place here that I should clarify. So all of our engineering departments are kind of independent operations within our college. We're collaborated and work together, but we do have some areas where the processes are different. So for those that apply PhD, you could get just a straight admission offer. You could get a straight admission offer with funding attached to it. You could get an admission and/or funding offer without a faculty member identified, and then later there would be a process to identify that faculty who would be your mentor. Or you could have a admission funding offer with a faculty identified, and that's the person the offer is for if you work for that individual. So there's several ways that could take place here. For the students that reside in the US, whether you're a US citizen or an international student, but you're currently in the US, we have a visit day in the spring where we bring the students to campus, and sometimes students are admitted and then they come to our spring visit in late February. We pay all the costs and then the funding offer comes later. For those that live in other countries, you usually don't come to the US until it's time to enroll before the fall classes. So there's several different models that take place here. So just please keep that in mind, and you can certainly have our department reps answer more questions about it. Okay, so we're going to move to some other topics of things you do here that are not class and exam related. And I will pass the baton to Ashley now to go over these.
Thanks, Mike. So first we're going to start off with some of our student organizations throughout UF. We have engineering specific ones, and then there's also just general throughout the University of Florida. There's over 900. The link at the bottom for UF student involvement has the list of all of these different organizations, how to apply for them, where they're at. Just an example of a few of them would be the Indian Graduate Student Association. There's also NSBE, which is our National Society for Black Engineers. We have SWE for for the Society of Women Engineers as well. Here's the link again to the list of all the UF organizations. They come in different categories, such as different clubs for arts, sports, cultural, media, communication, social. There's different for undergrads and graduate programs as well. It's a great area to get involved with if you're looking for some more social aspects on campus or just more ways to get involved. Now let's talk about housing. So first we're going to start with on-campus housing. There's lots of different on-campus housing options for graduate students. The Continuum is one that we hear about quite a bit for our UF working professionals and our graduate students. There's also Corey Village, Diamond Village, and Tanglewood Village, which are great for graduate students and also students with families. If you're looking to apply for some of the graduate housing, the link is at the bottom here. It's a pretty generalized way to apply. They have everything set up for you there, and it'll allow you to kind of choose what fits best for you, whether you need 1 to 2 bedrooms, 1 to 3, and they're all very central to campus. And then there's also off-campus housing, which we've got lots of options throughout Gainesville. Swamp Rentals and Apartments.com are great websites to use to see what's available, price ranges, and how many rooms, whether you're plan to have a roommate or to not have a roommate. Some that I have heard many students use is the Pavilion, the Ridge at Gainesville, Cabana Beach Apartment. UF also has a housing locator themselves to help you find off-campus housing. And there is also many different websites to use for roommate matching as well. The city of Gainesville has the RTS bus system, which stops at almost all of the apartments around Gainesville, as well as shopping centers and other stores. And then there's different bus stops as well for RTS throughout campus. All UF students with a UF ID can use these buses for free to get around town and campus. Then here's some general information about the University of Florida. We've won 42 NCAA national championships. We're a part of the Southeast Conference or SEC when it comes to football and all our sports. We have a very large football stadium as well as our Exact Tech Arena, which is where a lot of the company events are held when we do our career fairs. We also have rec sports to do intramural sports on campus. If you're interested in being involved in more sports, the link is on this page as well. They offer currently roughly 14 to 16 sports. These change out each semester. You can check the website to see which ones are available each time and their schedule for it. Some that are currently offered is ultimate frisbee. There's cornhole, bowling, flag football, quite a few other sports as well. There is an indoor gym through Rec Sports if you're looking for somewhere to work out on campus. There's also outdoor and indoor activities that Rec Sports facilitates, such as kayaking, volleyball, different options like that. Gainesville's been around for quite a while now. Our population is steadily growing. Our temperatures are pretty average throughout the year. It's pretty mild. Our winters do not typically get very cold, and when they do, it's just for a short period of time. So the weather's usually very nice here. Gainesville is pretty central to both the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico for beaches. It's within an hour to an hour and a half for both. We're also central to 3 major cities, Tampa, Orlando, and Jacksonville, if you're looking for more things to do, such as larger shopping areas, amusement parks, different events. We're very local to both of those. Gainesville's also been ranked number 13 on Money Inc.'s 20 best places to live in Florida. Some different things to do in and near Gainesville. There's quite a few small towns around Gainesville, such as High Springs, Alachua, Denellen. There's some other areas as well where there's lots of different springs, rivers, hiking trails, lots of different activities you can get involved in, as well as quite a few breweries throughout those small towns as well. And downtown Gainesville has its own kind of clubs and bars, different activities. There's lots of shopping. Great area if you're looking to get out for some more nature. Here's some pictures of St. Augustine, downtown Gainesville, Disney World or Universal if you're looking for an amusement park to go and adventure around. Do any of our students have any comments they want to make regarding your housing situations in Gainesville or any activities you like to do around?
Sure. I think the housing here is pretty flexible when it comes to that. If you're looking for a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, or 4-bedroom apartment, it just depends upon you. There's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of places here. You'll easily find the place, but it's good that you start preparing early on. There's a lot of things that you can do. There's a lot of societies you can get involved into. A lot of societies take trips to a lot of these places. So I think it's a very fun way to connect with people, build a new community, make new friends, socialize, and have fun here while you're at it.
Great, thanks. Would either of our other 2 students like to say anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I completely agree. And I feel more than anything, the bus system in Gainesville really does help out students a lot because they really help you commute. They are connected to everywhere and you can commute no matter, how many times a day, and no matter where you want to go, there would be a bus going there. And then about the kind of trips and all that, there are many, many societies and many, many groups in the UF that take students out for trips and continuously involve students in many, many activities. And many a times, especially when you're coming from outside, you're not used to the culture over here, right? And they do the extra mile of making you realize, how people work here, how universities work here, how different festivals are celebrated here. And it's really exciting. I think every week something or the other is going on if you look at it, and it's really a fun time. It's a place where you can study when you want to study and you can have fun when you want to have fun. And I think that's a good balance that UF provides.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so these are some of the same websites that I probably sent you in emails, and some of you have filled out forms, but if you have not, these will all be available for you for PhD interest or application fee waiver requests to be looked at. The same, we have these forms for the masters as well, and these were all new websites that were put up this last summer. That's the link again for all of the slides and recordings for this event and the other events that we've run in the last month, so that you will have that. And we also have all of the main graduate staff contacts. So when you submit your application, they are going to these individuals. So they are the key individuals to stay in touch with for everything related to your application and admission to University of Florida. We have several of our current graduate students who also want to assist you in this capacity. So some are attending today, and then some have been attending other webinars. So they've all provided their information. If you want to reach out to any of them regarding any questions you have and the process to apply or be admitted, or just what is it like to be here at University of Florida, or any other questions that you might have. Okay, so we've gone over a lot of stuff for the last hour and 20 minutes, and we just have a few minutes left, maybe 10 minutes or so. If there's some other questions that have not been answered, I can see the Q&A has been going solid with over 100 students the entire time. So I'll let Ashley navigate if there's any remaining questions that we should go over as a whole.
One of our main questions that we've had in our other webinars as well is going to be about the application decision timeline and whether there's rolling admissions as well.
Okay, so I'm going to let the departments that are on board today respond to that. When do you expect decisions to be made? And more importantly, when would the students hear about these? Maybe we can start with Tahara. And then since we have PhD and master's prospects online, maybe address both.
Hello, absolutely. So for spring admissions, those decisions are going out right now. For fall, we expect to start processing decisions after December 5th. And then in January, we expect to start releasing decisions. So I would say by February, most students will have received decisions. And this is for material science and nuclear engineering.
Okay, Megan, for mechanical and aerospace.
So for, if any of you are on here for spring 2024, if you are an international student, our deadline has passed. And so if you have an outstanding spring 24 application, it will be moving to fall. If you are a domestic student, our last round of spring review will start next week. So hopefully you will hear before Thanksgiving, but if not, first week of December. For fall, we are expecting to begin PhD application review after December 5th, and for master's review starting in early January. So you can expect to start hearing master's decisions in early February.
Yeah, so that's a good point for everybody. Even though each of our engineering departments has different application deadlines, the UF admissions application still accepts applications. So if spring was closed, there were still several students, probably 50 to 100 that still applied for spring, but we weren't reviewing for that anymore. So what we do is we automatically update your application to the fall term. So we can't, it's too late for spring for many, but we can consider you for fall. So that's what happens if you applied late. Okay, how about Jordan for industrial and systems?
Certainly. So yes, for spring admissions, decisions are currently being made and being sent out. So students should, by and large, receive a decision by the end of this month. And for fall 2024 admissions, we anticipate decisions to begin going out late December, early January. And then probably up until, let's see, up until probably mid-March or so, because our regular admission deadline for our master's program for fall is March 1st. So we do have, you know, our deadline not till well far into the spring semester.
Okay, Paula.
So we didn't have a very large pool for our spring 2024 applicants, so we're pretty much finished with that. So we're actually reviewing our fall 2024 applications right now, and you should, if you've already applied, you should have received notice if your application is complete, and it should be sent for review probably the next few days. We're trying to get started on those very early. So, but beyond that, it does take some time for, if you are admitted, for your application to go through the admissions process. And I always like to note that because the Office of Admissions needs to review your application as well. So we review it in the department, and then the Office of Admissions, and then the International Office. So it can take quite a while before you hear back regarding a decision, but we do try to work on those pretty fast.
Yeah, there are several stages here. It's not just one person looking at it and hitting a button that says admit. It does take some time. For our newest programs, Pam, in engineering education.
Hi, we have already done our spring PhD admits for 2024. We will be starting to work on the masters admits the middle to the end of December, and we'll start releasing decisions the end of January, beginning of February.
Great, thank you. Julissa and ECE?
For spring admissions, we have very limited admissions for this spring. We only consider a few applicants, so we're pretty much done, except we had 2 very late applicants, and they their applications are sitting with Office of Admissions for final review, so they'll probably get theirs by next week. But other than that, spring is complete. And then for fall, we have begun reviewing some of the applications, but I don't expect PhD admissions to be out until probably about mid-January, and then the master's February, March.
Okay, good. Sumat, chemical engineering?
So for the PhD program, we will start reviewing applications after our deadline, which is December 5th. And then we will continue to review them till the end of December and start sending out decisions early January till probably the middle of January. And then for the master's program, we will do rolling admissions. So we've already started reviewing applications for fall next year.
Great, thank you. And for CISE, which is Christina's not here, I know she was still working on spring. Admissions were going out the last 2 weeks and all the way through this week. I'm not sure if she's completed that or if there'll still be some more next week. That is the area that has been receiving the most master's applications by far for the entire college. And so that one takes the longest. They are looking to address that, I hear, this year, since that volume is so much more than the others. Okay, was there any other, maybe one more question, Ashley?
Let me see. We did
Can I
have a
address
lot of,
something really quick?
sure.
So I saw a lot of questions about test scores. So I just wanted to say that for people who are submitting TOEFL or IELTS scores, the minimum scores at the university level are a 6 for the IELTS and an 80 for the TOEFL. Make sure that you're checking your department's websites, as they may have more strict requirements. But at a bare minimum, you have to get a 6 or an 80 to be eligible for consideration. This is not the department, holding you back in any way. This is a university level requirement, so you must have those. And you can also, you have to submit official scores for these. We don't take unofficial scores for the test scores. You can do unofficial transcripts and copy the degree certificate, but you can't for the test scores. They have to be official. The other departments may not have the same requirement as us as far as GRE, but we strongly suggest that you do not submit GRE scores. They're not required. For our department to be fair to all applicants, we don't want you to submit GRE scores because they're not going to give you an edge. And if you do not meet the university requirement for the GRE verbal of 140, it actually can be a detriment to your application. So we strongly suggest that you just don't submit it at all unless it's required for the CISE department.
Yeah, I know a lot of students get hung up on that, even though they're not requirement. They still feel like they need to submit it because they took the test score because for other schools they're applying to, but no, we don't need to see it. Okay. All right, Ashley, you were going to say one other?
It actually has to do as well with the language scores. We had quite a few students ask about Duolingo scores and if anyone accepts that, which I don't believe we do.
Right. Yeah, we did list those minimums on one of the slides, the admission slide. So all the prospects will have that as well. Okay, we're almost at 11 o'clock, and this has been a fast and furious today with lots of students, lots of interest. So that's great. We're happy to see that there's so much interest for University of Florida. So please stay in touch with us. We will continue to answer all your questions. You have lots of contacts now here at UF that you could reach out to for students, staff, and some faculty as well. So feel free to do that. So thank you for your time. We'll close with, I know that you have a lot of options. All of you are very talented, you're very smart, and you're applying to many schools. So We hope we've made a really good case today why University of Florida should rank near the top for the quality of our programs, the economical costs, the sum scholarship for non-Florida residents, and then for masters, an extensive scholarship for PhD. And Gainesville and UF's just a great place to be in a great community. And along with all the career aspirations that we will help you with for jobs and internships. So thank you for your time today, and please stay in touch all the way through the admissions process and hopefully enrolling here in the spring or next fall.